Initializing the stream.
Woo!
Of course, it's a minute behind, so by the time I realize we're back, we will have already been back for 60 seconds. Okay,
Wow.
so let's assume we are back,
Mhm.
uh, and we'll start with your next character, Matt.
My next character is the Renegade of Funk, Dazzle Tron.
Dazzle Tron. Okay,
Woo! This is by Bamboo
Bamboo.
Shoots,
Yep.
our good friend. Um, he, what is there that I can say about Dazzletron? Um, the basic setup is that it's a giant robot created by a big record company, uh, just to be a giant disco robot thing, uh, to bring in more money, I guess. Uh, and yeah, and then disco died. The company went into bankruptcy, and Dazzletron went to the landfill. Skip forward to modern day when a 70s tribute concert was held over at the site, which is Dazzletron's resting place. Hearing the most funky of jams, once again, Dazzletron rose to the grave. Disco's never gonna die! Yeah, seriously. This is one of those things that's just, this is, I like the idea that we're slowly building a giant robot fighting federation. And we have Mechabaz. We have, what was the one? Maximum something?
Maximum Gaiden.
Maximum Gaiden, and now we have Dazzletron. And I just, what do you change about that?
Yeah.
I even like the fact that he's got robot bell bottoms in the art by Cosby Daff.
Yes. So I would want to totally go Bunagi on this one. So Bunagi is our African monster who has this rhythmic style. It's all about like reinforcing, doing things at the right moment to power up your attacks. I think Dazzletron like plays music when he fights, and if the music goes away, can't fight. You know, but it's totally like spins and flourishes and poses like, yeah. I think you go all out with this one. Uh, I
Yeah,
I don't. I think it'd be really hard to do well. This is not an easy task, but I think it's hilarious and worth going after, frankly. So
yeah.
uh, okay, my next one. Oh, so ready? More beautiful art on this one. Uh, this is Hand of Enma. Uh, this is so really pretty similar to Dazzletron. Um, so
uh,
Hand of Enma, I don't know that this could be done well in game. I think that this might be too ambitious. It's crazy. I mean, it is crazy looking. On the other hand, it is really cool. It is
yeah.
it is
No kid.
it is really cool. I don't know how to make a good move list for this. I don't know how to make good strike zones for this. I mean, like you need a constantly exploding well of fire underneath you for it to look cool, which
Hmm.
is great for like any one moment. But as like just kind of hanging out, like you get knocked down, what happens? Like you just have a well of fire just kind of hanging out near you. What if you're thrown up into the air? Does the fire go with you, or is there just like a rift in the ground that like moves around to catch you when you land? Like, uh, lot of difficult decisions to make here to make this playable in game. So much so that yeah, I'm not sure how to go. But wow, it is cool and scary looking. I love that there's a mouth in the palm, and inside the mouth there's like this glowing horribleness. But you're like, wait, where could that be? Because there's that's so, but it doesn't matter because it looks awesome.
Yeah, this is definitely one that I've seen pop up every now and then,
Yeah,
and I'm really impressed by it. Of course, I love Bracey. I'm a big fan of Bracey's art, and I'm just blown away by the terrifying nature of it. I mean, this thing would be, oh man, this is something. This is like a final boss type of thing that you would see at the
yeah,
end of a Sentai series or something, like a
yep.
just something huge over there, or even creepier. This is like something you would see in like a Resident Evil movie, a Resident Evil game, or even Silent Hill.
Well, let's say
It's
the
just
game because the Resident Evil movies perhaps are not so terrifying.
I
But yeah.
misspoke, and I'm regretting saying that. Yeah, no, I want to see this thing like just in game. I want to see this thing happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reminded of one thing that I would change personally is I might remove the not remove, but I might shorten the actual arm segment because it feels a little.
It's like
It
the
feels
arm of Enma, not the hand of Enma.
Yeah, it feels a little too much like I'm reminded of one of the weirder Transformers is Gigatron from one of the anime series, and he was brought over as and just called Megatron because Hasbro's scared of new things. The nothing but love, please don't fire me, Hasbro.
Right.
Um, but at one point Gigatron, he can turn into all sorts of different stuff. He can turn into a jet, he can turn into a car, and there are of course these crazy looking like alien car jet things. And he can turn into a two-headed dragon, and he can turn into a giant hand. And the giant hand I think is the best alt mode. It's just a creepy, terrifying giant hand. And yeah, I say that's what we need.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's go back to you, Matt. What do we got?
Okay, just a memento. Okay, our next one is, I believe, another one by Agent Draco.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I just picked randomly, everybody. I'm sorry that some people are getting doubled up. So
Yeah. God, Simon. Um, this character is Pnthr A14, which of course is could be read as Panther A14, the bloodthirsty robot.
yeah.
I'm gonna say right off the bat that first of all, there's some art by the Rising Soul, which is a relatively new artist that I've discovered on DeviantArt who is really really great. I love the style present in her stuff. Um, I will say though that I'm gonna be totally honest. This just kind of looks like a giant version of Ravage from
Yeah.
from Transformers.
Yeah.
It's just a giant robot panther, and I mean that's kind of cool and everything, but yeah, it's gonna need something else. There's gonna need to be something because at the moment it's not reading as a giant robot panther. It just looks like a robot panther.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's gonna be one that's gonna need some tweakage. It's gonna need to be tweaked. The origin is kind of long-winded. And something about it being like a weapon that kind of has a mind of its own,
Right.
and then it kind of like starts growing gigantic somehow. And yeah, Giant Panther is cool and everything, but it doesn't really read as a kaiju. So
Okay. So when you're dealing with robots, so okay, it makes no sense that anything could grow to be the size of a kaiju. That's ridiculous, right? Just by itself. But
yeah,
at least with an organic something, it sort of makes sense. Actually, when we were working on Katyusha, a big part of that character was how can a machine grow, right? And it's
yeah,
like, oh, it's growing off the bottom. But something like this, a giant panther, like a machine like this does not grow, right? You have to
yeah.
build it at this size, and so yeah, there you go. If you're going to make a robot, you're building it as a giant robot, or it needs to have some cyborg nano technology, something.
Mhm.
But I agree. Like, I mean, this looks really cool. I like the name. I love a quadruped. I think panthers are awesome. I like Ravage. This doesn't seem like a kaiju to me. So I think, not that there's anything bad about it or wrong with it, but I think we need to step back from it and sort of say why. Why are
We
you
need
doing
to.
this panther? And then how could we
Uh-oh.
accomplish those same goals and make it a kaiju? Yes?
What?
Did I lose you, Matt?
Yeah, you lost me for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, thank goodness you're back.
I know.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My computer is freaking out a little bit. I'm overtaxing it. Too many chat windows. Please, everybody stop trying to chat with me. I am chatting with you via live stream. Let that be enough. Okay. All right. Next one. Biosapien. another SPN3 card. Yes, I guess all these SPN3 people are excited and jumping in there quickly. So Biosapien is pretty cool. It has been around for a while, actually, within the forums. Although the look has changed, I think, quite a bit. Basically, it's a boy is thrown into a crevasse. There's chemicals down there. He gets mutated, comes back, and gets revenge on the people who did this to him. But also turns into this horrible monster. It's a little bit like Seismosaur in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I would want to play up here is that this is sort of an innocent who becomes this monster, right?
Yeah.
We did that a little bit with who's our greed monster? I don't remember the name of our greed monster offhand.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that, or I'd have to go.
It bothers me when I can't remember the name of the monsters we worked on it so hard.
Yeah.
Yes. Wait, it is.
Well, there's just so damn many of them.
Bakuyoku. There we go.
No, I remember. Yeah.
But so, I would want to play a bit with though because Sweet Tooth has been pretty consistent saying that Biosapien's a hero. It was a heroic kaiju, right? Because a human mutated and now is going to go out and do some good. I don't know about that. I think I want to push it a little darker. I want to push it to still kind of has the mind, still wants to do good, but now you're thrown into this giant. Okay, I've seen this trope several times in movies and TV something where somebody has super strength. Okay, and when they have super strength, it's always tragic because they start breaking things accidentally. Like they're at the dining room table and oh, I crushed my cereal bowl. I didn't know, and I walk out the door. Oh, and I ripped the door off the hinges. It's like you're not a bad person. But all of a sudden, everything you do just kind of destroys things around you. You can't help it, right? And if you become a huge mutant kaiju with rocket packs and claws that are 50 feet long, you're gonna hurt things, right? You can't be a kid anymore. And so even though this was a kid and this is an innocent and wants to do good things and he's friendly, right? But because of his body and the way people are going to treat him now, it's gonna be really hard to hold on to that perspective and that humanity.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to become I think that needs to be an important theme, right? And the Biosapien, I think Biosapien is a pretty good name for that because it's that's not a human. That sounds like a lab experiment, but it's sapien. It sounds like it's thinking, but how are we? Anyway, there you go. Thoughts, Matt?
Again, this is another one that I see pop up in my feed every now and then. I've seen quite a bit of art for it. I really, oh, sweet Jesus. I just, it really does look like something that kind of reminds me of the Amazing Colossal Man, which is a very inherently tragic character. I just remember there was a moment where he's, in the movie, the Amazing Colossal Man is reading a newspaper, and he's been taken into custody by National Guard or whatever, and so he's sitting there and he's reading this teeny tiny newspaper, and the story is about him, and he's laughing about it, and then he throws it against the ground and in anger because it's just so unfair what's happening to him, and it just kind of makes him snap.
Right.
I like the tragedy aspect of the character. Those giant organic guns are weird and terrifying and kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know about the elbow spikes. The elbow spikes have, we kind of done that. We've done that a lot.
Yep. I like the long feet.
Yeah.
You put that. It's a way that it's very human. It's the long feet. Human feet are not that long. Oh my God, he's a monster. Anyway.
Oh, as if the size wasn't enough. I think that there's a lot of potential to this, and I think that there's not a whole lot that we would have to change. So this is really cool. I like this guy.
Oh, okay. Please stop apologizing and saying sorry. When I say stop chatting with me, do not chat with me over and over to say that you're stopping. Just stop. Okay.
Everybody just chill. Everybody just chill out.
Calm down.
And let's let Simon's not mad. Just don't apologize. Don't say anything. That's the best thing you can do. Is just chill out and let's just listen to the podcast, and you can still talk in the chat. Oh, okay. I've been Okay.
You're still here. All right. So you got your last one now, right, Matt?
Let me double check. Yes, this is the last monster on my list.
All right.
Oh boy. This is by Joshua Batts, and its name is Moosla, and it's a giant moose. Moose.
On a
Uh,
Canadian flag.
yes.
Yep.
Apparently, it has a maple leaf ray, and it has the antler ring. Now, okay. And of course, there's the whole thing about how moose are apparently going extinct because of poachers, and then there's a giant moose and a giant mutant moose because the
Yes.
so like on the one hand, I want to give it the benefit of the doubt and say like, yeah, it's a giant mutant moose humanoid creature that is fighting for truth, justice, in the moosey way.
Right.
But here's the thing: moose are terrifying. Moose are really scary, hyper aggressive, extremely territorial animals. It's kind of like hippos. Everybody
Right.
tries to make hippos into these cute, gentle, lovable animals.
Right.
More people die from hippo attacks than they do from lions and I think even crocodiles
Yep.
in Africa.
No, hippos will kill you. Hippos totally
They will
kill you.
they will kill you to death. Um, I just think it's one of those things that we would really have to make a commitment between whether or not it's going to be a totally joke creature. But the problem is that moose aren't really a joke. They're scary. They're scary, horrible, monstrous animals that will just stomp you into the dirt just by looking at you.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I look at this, and on the one hand, this has lots of things that I like. Moosla, like, it's very clear. I got it. I know exactly it's the moose one.
Moose.
But you said this earlier. You said, to work, a joke kaiju has to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this one's not quite funny enough to be as good as I want it to be. I mean, so there we go. I mean, it's I don't really know. I mean, I don't know how much energy Joshua Batts has put into this character, but I think like nice, good try. I think in this case, I don't know that reworking it and trying to tie it down and really double down on the moosiness. Like I don't know that that's really going to go anywhere. I think like okay, that was pretty cool. Let's do something that clean and that good, but apply it to something that has a little more kind of inherent bite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like. I mean, a giant moose monster would be kind of cool and terrifying. We would just have to. We'd have to redesign it though. We'd have to approach it differently.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm going now to my. So, people are talking about how many more, how many more. Like, I'll tell you, I have a lot more on my list because I was like, maybe we'll get through a lot, but we're out of time, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have like 15 more that I'd put down as like possible can get there. If you step on, you'll be on camera, Cleo. Do you want to be on camera?
Oh.
This is my daughter, Cleo. Yes, so you met Oscar earlier. Here's Cleo. So this camera is on. You're broadcasting.
Well.
Yay! See, this is what it sees now, but this is a minute behind. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll
but,
just stand here.
all right, you
Oh,
can.
you just saw me.
Yes.
There I am.
Yes.
There you are.
There's your
Hello.
pass. All right. Now go and let me
It's time
continue.
travel.
Let me continue. Thank you. So, yes. But that said, so I'm going to try to run through. I'm going to do one more big discussion here with Matt on this one, and then I'm going to try to do like 5 or 6 really quick ones, rapid fire.
God.
To make it
Okay.
for. Okay, so Leviton, the dreadful demoness from the deep dark. This is a Sir Nightmare monster.
Yeah.
So here we go. So this one. So most of them we've done them sort of in the order that I picked them when I was rolling. This one I moved to the end specifically because I wanted to do it sort of at the end. Because this is an interesting talk, and I know Sir Nightmare is very active and has a lot of stuff, and is a very divisive figure, and his characters are very divisive, and I've done a lot of defending of his work. Although I also kind of encourage some attacking it. It's very complicated, and I wanted to make sure I gave my due. Have you brought it up, Matt?
I wasn't even aware this was a thing.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So here's the thing. So I do not care for this. I don't like it. But I want to explain why I don't like it, because it's not because it's bad, right? Let's say that I have a coworker, and his name is, Jimmy, okay? And I go over to Jimmy's house, and like there's a party, and we're kind of hanging out. There's a bunch of people from work there, and I go to Jimmy's house, and I find a bunch of like porn mags in Jimmy's house. Okay, they're just kind of laying out on the table. That makes me uncomfortable. That's not what I want, right? I don't want Jimmy to have porn mags out when I go to his house for this party, and it's not because I think there's something wrong with that, or because I dislike Jimmy, but that's not the context in which I'm over there, right? I'm over there because we work together and we're hanging out, we're being sociable, and there's a bunch of people, and we're all hanging out to get to know each other outside of work, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm being exposed to here has nothing to do with work, and it has to do with my friend Jimmy, but it's part of Jimmy's life that really has nothing to do with me, should have nothing to do with me. And by exposing me to that part of his life that I really have no involvement in, I am made uncomfortable. Okay, so Sir Nightmare has a bunch of characters, and he works hard on these characters. Yeah, he is getting a lot of feedback. He's reworking things. He's taking criticism very seriously. But I think the fundamental thing for me is that when I look at this character, I'm like, oh, someone thinks this is pretty. Somebody likes giant kaiju girls, right? And
Do they ever?
certainly Sir Nightmare does, and that's totally fine. You like giant kaiju girls? That's totally cool, right? I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with that. But when I look at this, I'm so aware that you like it in a way that I don't like it, and that makes me uncomfortable. I feel like I'm being put into a space, and so when I talk about it, it's hard for me to talk about it as a character and as a monster and as someone in a fighting game, because I'm very aware that it's also being looked at in this other way that's not the way that I look at it, and I feel like I'm being put somewhere that makes me uncomfortable. So there we go. So actually, Sir Nightmare, recently we had the spoiler tag. I was like, hey everyone, learn to use the spoiler tag. And so Sir Nightmare put some stuff in his signature that I don't think had been there recently, but put it in the spoiler tag. And I think that was actually a really great move. That was a nice way to put it, because people who like this, and want to be exposed to this and want to talk about it and look at it, like, that's great. But I feel like this is not what we're here for. Like, we're here for talking about giant monsters that go into a fighting game. And this is not made for a fighting game. This is made for other things. Now, that said, we actually have there's actually another we're working with Sir Nightmare on something that I think really is appropriate for the fighting game. And so Sir Nightmare is very, I don't know, I think is a really good addition to our community. But I want to sort of speak about this, because I know this is a sensitive topic, and it's hard for me to just say, I don't like that, I don't want it around, because that can be really interpreted to be much more negative than I mean it to be. Also, I know that when I make a statement like that, sometimes other people interpret it, and I don't want other people attacking things because of my opinions, unless I can express my opinions very clearly. So that's what I'm just trying to do here. Matt, your thoughts?
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
No, okay. So I'm looking at it, and yeah, I mean, the first thing that jumps to my mind is, yes, I can tell exactly what this is supposed to be. However, that's not to say that you couldn't do something with this concept and make it not quite so blatant.
Yeah.
It could, you could have it's like we were talking about earlier with the giant rattlesnake woman,
Right. Yep.
You can do something with that concept. It's just the visuals right now are it's very clear that it's trying to be one thing.
Right.
That
it's trying to be sexy.
Right, it's trying to be something overtly sexual. And that's not to say that we haven't had things like this in the past, where we've taken something that was supposed to be interpreted one way, and we've
Right.
reinterpreted it.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that that's not impossible. I'm saying that it's not impossible to take this thing and make it a little more accessible and a little less uncomfortable for people.
Yep.
And that's really all I'll say about it for now.
Okay. Okay. So that's sort of the official end, but I want to just jump in and do like 4 or 5 more rapid fire style. So I want to talk about Warmadillo. Warmadillo by Boomwolf. It's a giant mechanical armadillo cyborg thing, and it's pretty sweet. I guess I keep sharing these with you, Matt. It's a female armadillo. I I wish we were working on this one because I think it's a really good name. I mean, clearly, if you have a good name, that draws me in.
Yeah.
But it's got like cool like rocket packs and weapons that kind of like fold out. It's got a great like fighting thing on the front, which I think is neat. We haven't really done a lot of good quadruped designs. I think a problem with quadrupeds is that a real quadruped predator, the focus is so much on the mouth, you end up just biting all the time. And the blades put on the front of the armadillo's mouth, it's a cool thing that I like a lot. It allows you a lot of motions that work better for fighting games and keeping the quadruped. So there's that. And then let's see. I should just bring all of these up at once so I can go through them quickly. Sutora, who again might be another SPN3 monster. We're getting a lot of previews here. Sutora, the Terror of the Abyss. This is really, really cool. I like Sutora quite a bit. She's got the bioluminescence thing, which is a little Pacific Rim. I would pull back from really looking too much like Pacific Rim because I think that's the thing that's on a lot of people's minds, obviously because it's so new. But she's sort of heroic. But I don't know. I just really like the mix of the dinosaur and aquatic stuff that's going on. I think it's pretty strong. Origin needs to be simplified, but that's fine. Let's see. Glacia, the Relinquished, which is a sweet tag. The Relinquished. What does that mean? Yeah. So she. I like this one. She is often hunted for the valuable metal in her bones. I don't know how you determine that a giant monster has bones made of a metal that is valuable. But kudos for whoever figures that out. But I like that she's kind of a ram monster. Like she's got the horns that come down. We don't see a lot. We see a lot of like bull style horns, things for goring. But I like the ram style horns. And actually, interesting. This character, it's a female kaiju, and she has breasts. She has quite very visible breasts, and yet she's not at all sexualized, which I think is kind of interesting. Anyway, she's got a lot of good elements, and there's some stuff that's really like I love the weird folds around her hips are really cool, and then also it's built with 2 different energy modes, which is something that's really well supported in the engines, kind of like shifting between this mode and that mode, like we do with Talagon, like we do with Grimgarl, like we do to the extreme with Exterminus. That's something that I really like.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gemini. Oh, and I grabbed the wrong link for this one. I hope that all of this isn't going to kill the live stream. Stay up, live stream. Yeah, so Gemini the Dead Star. This is pretty cool. It's interesting, we seem to go in cycles, and sometimes we have a cycle of kaiju who are a bunch of animated parts that kind of, are stuck together by telekinesis or, star energy or whatever it is. Gemini is one of these. Yeah, I really like it. I like the sort of like planetoid attacks, and I imagine a Gemini is something with like lots of little bits of loose rock and planetary bodies orbiting it. I mean, not quite that size, obviously. But the floating limb thing is something I quite like. And I think, again, because you really got an alien vibe going on here, I think this is a great character to take advantage of a variety of energy attacks. So even though you have these, melee abilities, and you can do all sorts of cheating with how far the limbs go from the body. I think going sort of a modular energy approach is the right way to go there. So, Anselmus, the Warrior of Air. That's Godzilla Shadow 75, who's the creator of Spinator. Spinator didn't make the list, but Anselmus, the Warrior of Air. Give you this link, Matt, because this made me laugh. Yes. So it's a big wood tree kaiju who's like got a tree sword for one arm and no real discernible face. It kind of looks like the Grinch, which is interesting. It's like body proportions are kind of all over the place, which is cartoony and interesting. Yeah. So he's sort of a spirit guardian of nature. Though it says guardian of the air, which makes no sense to me. Like I don't see that at all. Looks like a tree plant guardian. Yeah, but it's got a big log sword arm, which I think is really cool. We drew Kirinax, our ancient dragon kaiju, kind of is like leaning on a tree to show how big he is. We've done something like Digama has an icebreaker for a hand, but I like the idea of like actually using a tree as your arm. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, that's cool.
And now last one, Sobek the Crocodile God. By G&G Fan. I guess we did G&G Fan before.
Yeah.
So Sobek Crocodile God. There's some things here that I like. But actually, I wanted to bring this up because... one thing that's really cool is around the crocodile's eye, it did the Eye of Horus symbol, which is cute, and a big ankh on the chest. But I feel that this, actually, much like Musla, like it's not... It's like giant crocodile. It's not funny, and it's not quite interesting enough for me. I feel like the sort of the origin story is simple. It's like, oh, ancient crocodile gods becomes a kaiju. Like, I think that this is a case where the creator hasn't found something that's exciting. You haven't found a hook yet. Like, you want to make a crocodile monster? Cool. Like, that's definitely something that you can work with. And wants it to be kind of Egyptian flavored. Yeah, that's very sensible. But like, and then he wrote it down. But like, we need to go further. We need to like figure out why. Is this a modern day Egyptian thing? Is this an ancient Egyptian thing? Is this a resurrected Egyptian god? Is this a crocodile who is infused with Egyptian energy? And I feel like there needs to be something that makes this a character you'd want to play as. And right now it's like kind of a crocodile. Yeah, but I feel like it peters out. Like it hasn't been fully developed. Yeah. Okay. So just as a wrap up, the point of all this today was not to praise and diminish people, but really let people know how the how the collaboration process sort of works. What sort of things Matt and I are really looking for. An idea of the kind of ranges of comments. People always get worried about what are they going to change, and we don't come into this wanting to change anything. We come into it wanting answers to our questions. We want to know, why does your character matter? What's important about it? What do you really like about it? And ideally, the thing that you really like about it is something we really like. And if you really like that and we're not feeling it, we try to find a way to accentuate it so that we really like that thing as well. Yeah. Matt, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty much what it's all about whenever we do collaborations for different monsters. We're trying to approach this professionally. You guys, we're not being paid to just kind of make whatever our progenitors put in front of us.
Right.
We're being paid because we're professionals and we know what works and what doesn't work because that's our job. We've made it our job over the last, so many years of our lives,
right,
to, more or less know what we're doing. And, and I think for the most part, this has been really successful, and I really love the roster of monsters we have. I think that the sheer amount of fan art that we have is a real testament of that. And the next phase, I want to see more cosplay, guys. I want to see some monster suits out there.
Yep.
Yep. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Great. Thank you, everybody. hopefully this was exciting and instructive. And I definitely I would like to do this again. We could make it an annual thing. That would be easy. I don't know if I want to go that long, but we'll sort of see how the rest of the year shapes up. So thank you, Matt, for making yourself available. Thank you to everybody for submitting all these awesome monster ideas. And now I'm going to go upload this onto YouTube. And so hopefully everyone will be able to watch it over and over again. Right. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.